name's Jess and today I'm here to talk to you about how to change your Australian license to a Japanese one. If you're only going to be in Japan for up to a year, I would really recommend just getting an international driver's license. Apply for it before you leave. So this is my one. It's already expired now, but have that with you. However, if you are going to be in Japan for more than a year, you can only use your international driver's license for 1 year, which is a pain. Before you even think about leaving Australia, what you will need to do is apply for a driving record from your local RTA. So it looks a little bit like this. Pretty much it's just a record of all the transactions that you've done with the RTA or your transport authority. So mine says when I got my learner license the first time, and then let it lapse and then got it again. And then when I got my P1, which is my red Ps, if you have committed any driving offences, we'll list them here, and it can be multiple pages depending on how long you've been driving, I guess. You can apply online, which is really handy, but you need to be really careful and make sure that you get it stamped, because Japan loves their seals, they love their stamps, they need everything stamped. So what I ended up doing is I just went to my local RTA, applied for it and got it on the spot. They said to me, because it was a rural area, it was fine. However, sometimes in the city especially, they will make you wait a few days, so don't leave it to the last minute. I think it cost me about $15. Okay, so that's the first thing you need. Next is an Australian passport. Make sure you get it stamped. So the reason they ask for your passport to be stamped is they need to know that you have held on to your Australian license for at least 3 months before coming and living in Japan. So whether or not you have been driving or not, if you're a paper driver, it doesn't really matter, but they need to know that you have been in possession of an Australian license for at least 3 months before moving to Japan. Also, another important thing is to make sure that your Australian license doesn't expire before you apply for your Japanese one. So if you plan to rock up to Japan, drive straight away, that's great. Use your international license, but make sure your Australian one does not expire before you apply for your Japanese one. If that happens, you'll have to go back to Australia for 3 months and then hold your new license, even if it's just an updated copy, before applying for a Japanese license. Also, a really good thing to point out is I'm on my provisional license. I took my test probably about 6 months before I moved to Japan. I found it was a little bit more of jumping through hoops. However, I was able to transfer my P1 license to a full Japanese license. So what you should have so far is a valid Australian driver's license, an Australian passport, a stamped driving record, and your residency card once you get to Japan. Now, your foreign residency card is something that should be given to you straight away when you arrive in Japan. Some places it does take a few weeks, especially if there are a lot of people coming into your area. However, you do need it to apply. When I got mine didn't have the address on it at all, so I got my address put on the back here when I moved, and then I moved again. So I got my new address updated and put on here. So what to do next? You need to now apply for a movement record from your local embassy and also get your Australian license translated by the JAF, the Japan Federal Automobile Association, I'm pretty sure they are. The form that you apply for is a 3-page form, and it is form 1359 from the Australian Government Department of Immigration and Border Protection website, and it just goes into all of the information that you have with your driving record. So everything needs to match up. You need to make sure that the address on your Australian license, one on the driving record form, and the one here all match up. You can fax this off to your embassy, which is probably Tokyo. I tried to fax mine to the nearest consulate, which was Fukuoka, and they said no. So I applied for this, and then it does take a few days. It can take up to 2 weeks for them to send the form. They will try and send you an electronic copy of that. And you need to call them and ask for it to be sent via post, because it's really important that this stamp is on the form. So this is another document that you need to provide that helps prove the fact that you had a license for 3 months before coming to Japan, which really, the stamps in your passport should be enough. However, they probably aren't. Okay, so you will need to also get your Australian license translated by the JAF. To get it translated, you need to send a 2-sided copy of the license and a completed application form. I'll put a link in the description below. For that is you send off all your documentation, and then you also have to send a separate money envelope. So this is something that I was really sort of stunned by. I guess it shouldn't really be surprising, but it's a money envelope. So you go to the post office and you need to ask to send a cash envelope, and it was 3,392 yen for them to translate it and then send it back to me. And so I literally put that money, coins and all, into that envelope, put all the information on it, and then they have a special courier that will actually make sure that it gets there in a secure way, which is really weird because I would never send cash in the mail. Anyway, they will translate it. They will then send you a form that looks like this. And it also is stamped, as you can see, by the agency, the JAF agency, and also the person who translated it. So your officer at the Shikenjo, which is where you'll get your license transferred, will have a look at all this information and I guess deem you able to drive in Japan. So yeah, that comes in 2 pages. Something to also keep in mind, some Shikenjo will also require your driving record to be translated. The JAF actually called me up and asked me specifically to contact my Shikenjo and ask them whether I needed to get that translated or not, because they have dealt with people. They need everything that's in English translated into Japanese. Okay, so before you go to your Shikenjo, there is another form that you need, and that is the certificate of residence. So that just pretty much backs up where you live so that all of the addresses on all of your documents match. So they cost about 200 to 300 yen depending on your city office. So the forms themselves are only valid for about 2 to 3 months. So you need to make sure that you get the form pretty much right before you go. So this is a little piece of advice which you don't have to do, but this is what I did just to make sure everything was right, because I was terrified of taking a day off work, going in, spending the whole day at the Shikenjo and then being rejected. So what I did is took all of the information, all of the documents, everything that I had, photocopied it, then took it to my local police office. So it was the city police office, not a koban, like the actual big keisatsu sho or whatever it's called, like a really big one, not just the little koban, because koban will just be like, I don't understand, this is crazy. And they will have a driving / road safety area that you can go to. And I actually got a lady from my work to call ahead and to say, a foreigner's coming, please help her out. So the lady knew I was coming, we went through everything together and she said, I think it looks fine. She faxed everything to Omura, to the Shikenjo, made sure that that was all information that was valid, and then I booked through them when I wanted to do it. And there you go. So as for rocking up to the Shikenjo without a reservation, highly recommend you not do that. Please make a reservation before you go, make a booking, let them know that you are coming. So this is the list of everything you need. You need an Australian driver's license, which is still valid, an Australian passport, a driving record from the RTA, a residency card that you get in Japan, movement record, translation of Australian license, certificate of residence, and an international driver's license, if you have one. So I hope this video shed some light on how to get your Australian license transferred to a Japanese one. If you have any questions, please let me know in the comments below. If you liked the video, give it a thumbs up. If you didn't, please comment and tell me why. If you need to contact me privately for any reason, all the details are on my YouTube page. And yeah, I'll catch you around. Bye!